TanqR, one of the most famous former Roblox Arsenal players in the history of the game. TanqR's Arsenal era lasted from 2019 to 2021. TanqR got popular over his smooth aim in Arsenal, which he showcased in public servers in his videos. He would constantly hit headshots and was no doubt the biggest Arsenal YouTuber. He was considered one of the best players by the younger audience of Arsenal, who barely had any knowledge of the game. This created controversy, with people claiming that nobody can beat TanqR and that he was the best Arsenal player. However, I know a few players who have beaten TanqR in Arsenal. This is what I'll be covering in this video. Most of you guys probably know who these people are, and some of you may be hearing about them for the first time ever. Now, I'll not be counting players that beat TanqR in Arsenal public servers, because this is not showcase skill in any way, since it's all based on RNG. Instead, I'll be going over 2v2s and 1v1s in which TanqR lost to them in. Anyways, I'll be going from the most known players to the least known players. Let's begin. The first player that I want to showcase is probably one that everyone knows about, which is why this will be my first player, because he is the most known in the Arsenal community. This is no other than Castlers, who is the developer of Arsenal. Castlers and TanqR faced each other in one of the biggest Arsenal events in Roblox history, which was the ACT, also known as the Arsenal Creator Tournament. This event was hosted by Bandites and Wake, and it was sponsored by Rolv, which is the company that created Arsenal. Castlers had signed up to this tournament with John Roblox, who was another content creator for Arsenal at the time. They ended up getting to the finals and faced off TanqR and Truth Behind the Lies. Castlers ended up destroying them both, and TanqR ended up losing 32-17. Now, many people would say that Castlers used TriggerBot to win this tournament, which can create a lot of controversy. I personally think that Castlers did cheat in this tournament, but it doesn't matter anyway since Castlers was a developer, and TanqR and Truth ended up winning Season 2 anyways, so their win was not robbed. But everyone has their own opinions on Castlers, so feel free to put your opinions in the comments as I won't judge. Let's now move on to the next player who beat TanqR. The second player would be a level 1000 former content creator known as FusionBoys123. FusionBoys was considered as the best speedrunner in the entire game, and even though he got destroyed by TanqR in a 1v1 originally, he ended up beating TanqR and Truth Behind the Lies when they were training for the ACT. Fusion Jack and FusionBoys were a crazy duo, and they beat TanqR and Truth in an assault 2v2. TanqR ended up losing 32-20, and the crazy part was that the Fusion brothers were on bad ping, which makes this even more impressive. FusionBoys' channel is now deleted due to unknown reasons, but his brother Fusion Jack still has the 2v2 video up, so feel free to check them out. Everything will be linked in the description of this video. The third person who beat TanqR is a YouTuber with over 100,000 subscribers who popped off during the Arsenal Shorts era. This was Cactus, also known as Oidlers, which was his Roblox username. Cactus was considered the best Arsenal player at one point, and he was extremely good in Dizzy 1v1s. Now obviously, as most of you guys know, Cactus was a cheater and he used ESP, and I made a 17-minute video covering that, so make sure to check that out. The link of this video will be in the description of this. But anyways, Cactus and TanqR ended up doing 7 1v1s. Now the scores are unknown, however, Cactus mentioned on one of his streams that he ended up winning 5 1v1s, and TanqR won 2. He claimed that TanqR was the best player he had ever 1v1'd. TanqR ended up losing in all of the 1v1s, which were on Cactus's ping. Cactus ended up losing in the ones on TanqR's ping, but won one of them. Now this is pretty impressive on TanqR's defense, as he ended up beating an ESPer, which is honestly crazy.
Failed. Did I win against TanqR? Yes, I did. But we 1v1 a ton of times. I won some, I lost some.
However, this wasn't as unknown as the next player on this list, who ended up beating TanqR in an Arsenal 2v2. Now this player was Stormer Havoc. Now this game was pretty controversial because Stormer ended up breaking the rules to win the 2v2 against TanqR, which I'll explain in a minute. Stormer ended up competing against TanqR in a Discord server known as ACL. If you don't know what ACL is, it is basically the original competitive scene of Arsenal, where people played in scrims, which is basically 2v2s, and the winner would get an increase in their elo or a rank in the server based off skill. TanqR ended up joining the server because he wanted to challenge himself and see what his rank was. TanqR played 2 scrims in the server and he ended up leaving, claiming that people were too toxic. TanqR won the first scrim that him and Stormer had together. However, they did a rematch and the scores got pretty close. Both sides were sweating very hard and the scores ended up being 30-30. However, when TanqR was typing, Stormer ended up sneaking in their area and ended up killing TanqR and his teammate, getting an unfair win. TanqR ended up leaving the private server and then quit ACL on the competitive scene forever. Stormer ended up uploading the entire game to his YouTube channel, but unfortunately got taken down. However, this video was re-uploaded by Angry Aimer, which I linked in the description of this video. Now give me your honest opinion on who you think was better, Stormer or TanqR. The 5th player who beat TanqR was also in a 2v2 in an Arsenal tournament. This was no other than the first season of the JCT, also known as the Jimbo Arsenal Creator Tournament. This tournament was very similar to the ACTs, but it wasn't sponsored by the developers of the game, nor did they give any special items to the winners. The prize was 100k Robux that was split between the winners. TanqR ended up sneaking into the tournament with the help of Jimbo as a girl and then made an entire video on it. After an easy win in the first match, TanqR ended up in a close game with a YouTuber known as Queen. The scores were 31-29, with the enemy team having the golden gun. However, TanqR ended up doing one of the most insane clutches in history and ended up beating Queen by 1 point, and his victory felt amazing.
One's in tunnel. Don't push tunnels. Don't push tunnels. I think he's a golden gun with the tunnels. I'm gonna try and scout his teammate.
I got the one tunnel.
Let's go!
Oh yeah, good game.
However, TanqR did not show the game after this. It had only been 2 rounds of the tournament, and the semifinals were actually completely ignored in his video. And this is the fact that TanqR actually lost the semifinals against another player. However, a clip taken from Jimbo's stream shocked everyone. TanqR ended up losing in a beach 2v2 against a person known as Zuni, who had the worst teammate possible. But despite the odds, he still managed to pull it off and defeat TanqR. Again, it is still unknown on why TanqR did not include this loss in his video, with some claiming that he couldn't accept a loss or the fact that he did not want to ruin his ego. However, I think he didn't include the fact that he lost to Zuni because his younger audience would not be happy and end up attacking Zuni. But either way, that is every player that I know of that has beaten TanqR in a scrim or in an Arsenal 1v1. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, because I'm on my goal to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And also, make sure to join my community Discord, which is linked in the description of the video. Goodbye.